Coming up on this edition of Husky Mag, there was plenty of Husky sports in action this week. Some just starting their season, some ending it.
And we have a lot to dive into it, so Husky Mag will start right now.
We can talk about that. And welcome to Husky Mag. I am Austin Schindler, joined by Leif Ender as my co-host on this beautiful, gorgeous night in St. Cloud. Leif, how was your weekend?
Oh, pretty good. It was really busy. Saw the regular season ending in both men's and women's basketball game. Great games to call. I was glad I was there, and hopefully you had a good weekend too as well.
Oh, we had a good weekend.
Absolutely. But I guess before we started diving into basketball, we got to hit the ice first. Number one team in hockey was on the road as this past week as they faced off against Nebraska Omaha. SSU, again, try to get things early starting in the first quarter. Like I said, they go into that weekend. Who knows? They could play their dominoes right. They could win the NCHC Penrose Cup. So the Cardinal Black would take the early lead early on the first goal by Sam Henchins. The period of Huskies would go on a power play later. And who else but Ryan Paling? He puts it in the net. 2-0 Huskies extend their lead up to 2 goals. And then in the second period, it would be more action from the Paling brothers. Nick wanted to get some action as well. He would score to extend the lead up to 2-0. And then later, Ryan would score his second goal of the game. And that would be enough as the Huskies would take Friday's game, winning 4-1.
Yep, and now we'll move into Saturday's match. And you could tell this one, St. Cloud did not want to leave without that Penrose Cup. And they came for business, and they executed as business does. Started off with just a three mere minutes into the game before Jack Paling would net the first goal of the game off the Jimmy Schultz assist. I mean, it was just pure domination from St. Cloud State's part, as they were able to breeze through this game, shutting out Omaha 5-rip. Something I'd like to point out for this game is that all 5 goals were all from different guys. All across the board, St. Cloud State was able to make plays and now can call themselves the Penrose Cup Champions. Them Huskies be going back to back. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that wasn't even a close game for St. Cloud State. And I was just surprised on how early they could win the Penrose, but they had a mission going. And then, of course, you saw the antics after the game when they got stuck.
Yeah, that was sad to say the least. Those Huskies, for anyone that doesn't know, on the way back from the Omaha game, on the bus, the Husky team was stranded in the road, basically. The bus was
winter storm again.
Oh, yeah, the winter snow, the snow blew everywhere, zero visibility, but the guys did end up getting out. They had the whole team get out, pull out their sticks and start just clapping the snow to the side of the road. Just a bizarre event. But nevertheless, they're Penrose Cup champions.
Yeah, and they had a nice stop at the police station as well. So that's kind of some funny pictures as well.
Yeah, and with that being said, we can just take a peek at how the NCHC is stacking up with 2 weekend series left in the regular season. Now, I don't know if you've quite seen it before or maybe even heard it, but St. Cloud State, your St. Cloud State Huskies are once again Penrose Cup champions for the 2nd straight year. Now, they'll be looking forward to the NCHC tournament, but at the same time, if the Huskies win their next 4 games, they would be breaking the all-time NCHC record for most points in a season. A pretty impressive feat, I gotta say. But for the rest of the field, it's all seeding for a frozen face-off as Minnesota Duluth will take on Miami this upcoming weekend. And we'll round their season up with a trip to the Herb Brooks as well, Western Michigan. They're in that 3 spot. Now, they have the same exact schedule as the Huskies do, but just switched around. So those are the 2 biggest, I would say, threats to St. Cloud State, as St. Cloud State themselves will be traveling to Kalamazoo and then Miami, Ohio to finish off their season.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
So, yeah, what do you think? What do you think playing out the rest of the field, NCHC-wise?
I mean, for St. Cloud, I know they already got the hardware, they got the goal, but of course, I want to see them still play their guys. Don't rest anybody because that's going to be crazy because you still want to have that chemistry on each of the line change. I mean, wins, who knows? It's just getting them ready for playoffs will be the biggest factor. Obviously, we're not going to speak up what happened last year.
Yeah,
but of course, that's obviously in everyone's mind and head. And of course, I think Larson will get all these guys kind of, play each game aggressively, but again, just still be in for a tune-up for getting ready for playoffs.
Of course.
And now I guess looking back at the USHO polls again, seeing how everything else ranks within the Division I hockey, of course, St. Cloud State, again, sitting on top of the first place for the third straight week in a row. Then up next, Massachusetts, and again, a tough one, Minnesota Duluth, number 3rd ranked Bulldogs, national champions from last year, coming to Herb Brooks for a tough series. That one's going to be packed up. Then you got Minnesota State, which I think kind of been quiet at number 4 in Mankato. It just seems like you haven't heard much. Then you got Quinnipiac, again, of course, Denver from our conference, Ohio State, Providence, Northeastern, and then again, Western Michigan wrapping the final on the bottom 10. So again, our conference, I'd say, is the most dominant in the NCHC.
By far.
It shows right there when you have at least 4 teams in the top 10.
And 4 teams in the top 10, and the St. Cloud State will be playing one of those 4 top teams because they will be coming up next for Huskies. They'll be taking the road trip to Kalamazoo, as I said before, to take on the Mustangs of Western Michigan. The Wild Kalamazooers currently sit 3rd in the NCHC, like previously mentioned, and hold a 20-11-8 conference record. Now, Leif, what should be you kind of touched on this. You want to get ready for the season, but as we have these next 4 games, should the Huskies be resting their guys, or should they just keep going at the pace they've been going?
I think they should be playing their guys. There's no, like I said, I don't want to see the guys resting because talking to other players that can mess up that chemistry and that line change you've had growing since the beginning of the season to the end. And I just don't want to see that funk get changed up. And then you got to wait 4 weeks to finally get back in that groove you had midway through the season. I don't like that at all. I'd say you keep up the players. Now, the intensity can back off a little bit because, like I said, you've already accomplished one part of your goal. You want to do is stay healthy. But again, I don't like the idea of resting because it'll mess up the lines, and you want to keep the players still in playing mode like they are right now and later in the playoffs rather than resting and then kind of have to rebuild up to that postseason play. That's what I like to see about that. And then let's, again, more stuff to look at. Friday's matchups, again, looking at for a good one this weekend as well in the WCHA as you have Minnesota. No, not Minnesota. Graphic. Holy crap.
We kind of see Bemidji State there taking Friday's matchups against Bemidji State and Bemidji State in the Friday, and then you see Minnesota Duluth able to defeat Minnesota State as well. Ohio State was able to tie with Michigan, and in Saturday's matchups, once again, the Gophers were able to sweep Bemidji State, taking that 4-3 win, as well as Minnesota Duluth tying with Minnesota State. The Mavericks at 3 apiece, and to round out Saturday's slate of games, St. Cloud State wasn't able to play themselves, but Ohio State would be tying Wisconsin, number 1 ranked Wisconsin, for that series. So now looking at what we have next for women's hockey, as we said, it's the WCHA tourney. Big things coming up in the WCHA. Now, St. Cloud State, what do you think? Is there a chance? What are you thinking here?
It's very tough going against the top seed, Wisconsin. They played them really well the first series where they were able to play all 3 periods. I think if they can make it to a 1-goal game or very close, who knows? They can make it put a little bit of an upset kind of brewing for St. Cloud State team. It's going to be really tough. Janita Alder, whoever's goaltending is going to be hopefully not taking 50-plus shots. That's what the other thing that's been hurting St. Cloud State when Wisconsin just piles up the shots on goals. But, you never know. There's always those Cinderella teams, and hopefully for St. Cloud, they got to do everything right, which is always tough against a team that does not lose and are ranked number 1.
Yep, and like we said, coming up for St. Cloud State will be the first round of the WCHA tournament as they take on the Wisconsin Badgers, number 2 seed Wisconsin Badgers. Puck drop will be at on March 1st, 4:07. The Huskies, with not having the season they hope they had, finishing with that 10-23-2 record and being able to go to Madison to face the Badgers, who've been borderline unstoppable this season, accumulating a stellar record of 28-4-2. And I'll tell you what, it's not quite the matchup we were looking for as students of St. Cloud State. They've been outscored 19-4 in their 4 meetings against Wisconsin this year, and you could almost call it a Badger barrage at this point, as 12 different Wisconsin skaters were able to net goals against those 4 games versus the Huskies. Now, you can call it a stretch, but there's definitely a chance. You almost
Never
have to
say never.
You can never say never, even if the chances are 1 in a million.
Of course. And of course, like I said, you never know. Upsets can brew and start off, and if you keep it close, I think that's going to be much in favor of St. Cloud, rather than if they can score 3-4 goals in the first period. Then things sadly are going to be kind of turning away from St. Cloud because they're ranked at number 2, number 1 for a reason, because once they get a lead, they don't hold back. But if they keep it close, kind of force some turnovers and maybe keep the pressure on the Wisconsin's defense, we never know. It's because hockey can be weird where you can get one lucky bounce, and that can be enough for a go-ahead goal.
Well, we'll head to commercial here on Husky Mag. Coming up, we got men's basketball action, women's basketball action, so don't turn that dial. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into the studios of Husky Mag. Austin Schindler, Leif. Man, it's been a while since I've hosted with you.
Yeah,
I'm glad to get reconnected.
I'd say it's been a hot minute since we've been in the studio together, but I feel this is working pretty well. And we got probably our favorite part of the show coming up too, I'd say.
Of course, basketball, baby. One of our top sports. Let's hit the hardwood right now. Also in the action was the men's basketball team as they look to end the regular season on a strong note. 4 players, again, would be seniors that would play it, so let's get right to the clips of the game. Huskies starting it earlier on. They get a block from Sean Smith. Get out of here, but they would get the rebound, though. But again, that wouldn't stop the Huskies. Brindley Tyson for 3. I'll take that. Trayvon Marshall, he goes for the and 1. Count the bucket and foul. He would complete the 3-point play. And again, you got to take another look at that. Trayvon Marshall going strong to the rim. And of course, sharpshooter Brindley Tyson. Shoot, baby. Nothing but splash zone there for him. And look at the extra pass in there to Sean Smith. He'll hammer that down. And here's my favorite play. Alley-oop, baby! Sean Smith gets it in. And of course, Brindley Tyson, he wants to get on the slam jam. Gets it up there.
You have to.
And of course, got to go on more of a dunk. St. Cloud just went on a dunk fest. That's just a polite way of just wrapping this one up. St. Cloud would take the easy win over Bemidji State, 85-58. 4 players would go in scoring double digits. Tyson, 19, going 5 of 6 from downtown. Of course, Sean Smith.
Smooth.
We saw a couple of blocks. He would finish tonight 7 blocks. And that was just unbelievable with him. 16 points. And of course, Gage with 15 on the night.
7 blocks for Sean Smith. I feel like we're pretty used to saying at least over 5 per game at this point.
He finished the regular season against Northern State, 100 blocks this year.
All right, well, let's not waste your time anymore. Let's get in the final regular season game for St. Cloud State, as they're looking to finish things off on a high note on a 4-game win streak with senior night in hand. And we'll start things off here with Chase Knickerbocker. No, he's not from New York. Trust me, I checked. He'll get the bucket over Gage. Next, another Crookston bucket. But now we got Gage Davis to Brindley Tyson. The rainbow, my goodness. Water. Next up, Brindley again. You love that to see that arc. Nothing but net. So smooth every single time. And should we get one more from Gage? He wants to join in the action. That's 3s, please. Oh, what a pass from the Danish dimer, Heat Anderson. Euro step, Sean Smith, dunk. See another steal by Brindley Tyson to Gage. Flight Club. Next up, Gage, pump fake, and we'll see it right here. Alley-oop, right to Sean Smith. And do we need one more? Yeah, we'll take one more dunk. Why not? That's for the brand. Sean Smith did the job for St. Cloud State and the rest of the Huskies. Now, they were down at half, 33-35. They were shooting abysmal. But St. Cloud State, they came back, and they seemed like Husky pups at first in that first half. But, man, that second half, they look like some dogs out there. I got to tell you, for sure, Leif.
They were hungry for that. And, again, just a big weekend for them to go at the end of the regular season 2-0 and get ready into the playoffs. That's nothing better than you want to. And speaking of playoffs, well, it's not quite yet March, but madness is full effect as the NSIC tournament bracket has been released. Let's look at how St. Cloud currently sits at the number 2 seed in the NSIC tournament, facing off the Peacocks of Upper Iowa. And because the Huskies are a higher seed, this game will be at Highlandback Hall, hoping for a full crowd ready to cheer on the team. The most exciting team in St. Cloud has, it seems like for the last 4 years that I've seen, put on the basketball court. Upper Iowa fell nearly the bottom of the NSIC, carrying a dismal 7-21 record before their latest win that came on Saturdays versus Concordia. The Peacocks really struggled to show their colors, dropping 15 straight this year. Their previous win before that, well, you gotta go back last year on December 20th when Upper Iowa defeated Winona State in overtime. And do you see any alterations where Upper Iowa could play a little bit of spoiler alert in game 1?
You know, Crazy college basketball. It's a crazy thing. We know this. We know this. Can the Peacocks pull something out of the feathers? Nope. Can't happen. It's not going to happen. You hate to see it for Upper Iowa's sake. You'd like to see it. But with this talent, with the experience on this roster, this Husky team, they're not going to go anywhere anytime soon, I'd say.
Absolutely not. I mean, trying not to be biased, though, but this St. Cloud team is just too dominant on all aspects. Defense, offense, the athleticism, length, too.
Oh,
Two Spaniards at 6'8", guarding the inside paint, it can shoot. I mean, sorry, but Upper Iowa, it's going to be too much of a task. It's going to ruffle your feathers.
And it's going to be a real tough task for Upper Iowa, as we were able to talk to Gage Davis earlier on how they've been preparing for playoffs. All right, hello and welcome, everyone. Here with me, I got the 12-time NSIC Player of the Week, all NSIC, Minnesota's all-time leading basketball scorer, the Mr. Gage Davis, Senior. How's it been? How you been, Gage?
I've been doing pretty well, man. Just enjoying my day. Just getting out of practice, getting the work done, getting ready for this.
There we go.
NSIC tournament.
So yeah, 21-7 on the season. How's it been going so far? How do you evaluate this season?
Well, we had our ups and downs, obviously, like every team. But I mean, this is one of the best teams I've been on since I've been here, I could say. And I mean, we have every piece it seems like we need on both offense and defensively. And I mean, this team is really mature. You know, having 6 seniors on there, we could see how we've grown throughout the year and that maturity that the seniors have, carried over throughout the season.
Yeah, and so you look at this team. This is one of the better teams in St. Cloud State history, obviously. 21-7. You have all these records that are being broken. You have all these seniors. But what is really the coal that keeps the Huskies train running?
I think it's the family we have built together. We really play for one another out there. Most of us have been here for 4 years, and that much time, you grow relationships and build those relationships with people, and everyone loves each other in the locker room. And this is one of the teams I've been on that feels most like a family. So that's what I could give a lot of credit to, that we out there playing for each other, and that we really do care for each other.
And I kind of want to touch on how all these records that are being broken. Sean Smith, most all-time in just 2 seasons. Brindley looking to set the all-time single-season record in threes. You yourself, Minnesota's all-time leading scorer in college basketball, not just NSIC, not just St. Cloud State. So you have all these accolades, all these records being handed out. And usually it's more of an individual level, but how can you work on an individual basis and a team basis with all this talent?
It's kind of easy to balance it out. Like I said before, like we are a family, so we're playing for one another. But we know we have these little individual accolades, but we know also that without the big team picture, none of these are attainable. Little things like Player of the Week and stuff like that aren't attainable without wins. So we know that it takes more than just individual accolades, to get to that overall goal. Yeah, they're good, and it's nice to be in the record books, but at the end of the day, we want our team to be remembered, not just each individual person.
Mm-hmm. And you have a couple high-flying guys, of course. Mr. Sean Smith, Brindley Tyson, he can shoot threes. Adam, he can pass, and you have all this talent. But if you could pick out one highlight of the season, of the regular season, what would be the one thing you remember the best?
I don't want to say this, but Ryan's bucket, Ryan's last bucket at home this past weekend was pretty special, just because I know how much it meant to him, and him being a senior and him able to score in front of his family meant a lot to us as a team. And I mean, that's big for us. But kind of like a highlight, I would say just a lob to Sean off a ball screen or something like that. He's real high flying.
We've seen plenty of them. We've seen plenty of them.
He can get up, so just one of those lobs it would have to be for sure.
Yeah, and now here we are. We're heading into the NSIC tournament. A lot of seniors on the team. This could be potentially one of your last games. So heading into this, it's elimination. It's win or go home. Is that in the back of your mind as a senior and the rest of the guys there?
Yeah, but it is every year, You know what you're playing for, and you know what's at stake, and that's what you play the whole season for. So it's not like it's built up pressure and we're going in there all tight. We know that we've played for this all season, so we know what's at stake, and I'm ready to get going. I'm sure the rest of the guys are too.
And yeah, so St. Cloud State hasn't won a basketball conference championship since 2009. So do you think this is the team that can break that stretch?
Any team since I've been here, this would be the one, definitely. We have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Sean, and he gives us a big lift. And Brindley's been shooting the ball.
Literally.
Yeah. And Brindley's been shooting the ball really well. So I mean, we're as hot as any team in the league, and we've shown that we can play with any team in the league. So if it were any year I've been here, it would definitely be this one.
So obviously plenty of talent on other teams heading into this tournament. Northern State, Minnesota State as well, Minnesota Duluth. So what's going to be the key to be able to capture that title in this tournament?
I would say just making sure we come out and play for the full 40 minutes each game. You know, we tend to take some plays off and we could get lost sometimes, but when we're clicking, there's not too many teams that can, you know, play with us, and we've shown that consistently. And I think with it being playoff time and we know it's at stake, that shouldn't be an issue, but just making sure that we're playing every play like we know that it's our last, like, and every play matters. That'd be the big thing for us to make sure we get over that hump and keep pushing on.
I mean, we've seen it, like sometimes you would struggle in the first half, like this past time in Crookston, and then it would just blow up. 55 points in the second half with ease. Lobs, dunks, threes everywhere. But NSIC champs, how does that sound? How does that sound?
That sounds good. That definitely sounds good. And I mean, I would love to hold that trophy up and, you know, take a part of the net back home with me and, you know, do something for St. Cloud. You know, people have done a lot for me since I've been here, and I've had enough support since I've been here, more than I can ask for, and I would love to get something back to the school and the people.
Mm-hmm. And would it mean even more to you to do it with this team?
Oh, of course, yes. I've been here with them for 4 years, and it'd be nice to do it with the people I started with, and that'd be a nice story for sure.
Mm-hmm. So let's say you make it to the NCAA tournament for that second straight year. Last year, second round, you took a heartbreaker to Northern State. They ended up going to the finals, being the runner-up. So what have you taken from last year's experience, playoff-wise, and translate to this year?
We just translated that we know that how good of a team we are now. You know, that was a game we had 1-2 down in the NCAA tournament, and we unfortunately gave one up. So it just kind of showed that, you know, we could play with anyone, and if we win that game, then we have a chance to be in the championship, the NCAA championship, and that's our overall goal. So we know how close we are and how attainable it is. So that's just kind of what we took onto this next year, knowing that, all right, we're this close to being at that step, and I think we have taken that next step.
Mm-hmm. And last question here before we get you out of here. Final buzzer sounds. That's it. That's it for St. Cloud State basketball. Where are the Huskies at? Where are they at?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I'm excited to see what's in store next year for sure. And we have some guys coming back who are really good, and they're going to have a chance to step up and, you know, do something for themselves and, you know, bring the team together. And I'm excited to see what's in store, too, for Husky basketball. You know, I want to stick around to help out as much as I can, you know, be a part of the program. So, you know, I'll be around working out and making sure the guys getting better each and every day.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what's in store and what they do next year.
For sure. Well, thank you for coming out. It's really a pleasure to have Gage Davis, Minnesota's all-time leading scorer, out here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. It's nice for having me.
Thank you. Of course.
And of course, staying on the basketball topic, Schindler, we got to talk about the women's side too, trying to make a strong push as well the regular season.
Can't leave them out. You have to do it.
Of course. Well, let's see how the women's team was in action as well this past weekend. Also looking to end the regular season on a strong note against Bemidji State. Let's dive straight into the highlight clips. Starting things off, a three-pointer made by Bemidji to get things going, but St. Cloud would answer back. Did it go over to Madeline Dahman. She aggressively attacked the left block, kisses it nicely off the glass, and of course, she would do her damage from the outside. Right wing three, splash zone there. Madeline Dahman would kick that in. And of course, she would have a tearing it up on the night. 18 points for Madeline Dahman. She was just on fire going inside and out. I mean, she would do well. She also had 8 rebounds to add on to her total. As you see there on our CG, Huskies would get the win 69-47 against Bemidji State. Of course, as long as Dahman had a good performance, Tori Warts added 15 points, and the freshman, Katrina Tice, had a good game, 5 boards and 10 points as well. Huskies got a good Game 1 win.
And you just see right there, a real nice score to finish it off for the Huskies in Game 1. But heading into Saturday's game versus Minnesota Crookston, St. Cloud State looked to come out of the weekend with the sweep and a 3-game win streak. Let's dive right into it. We start off, Madeline Dahman kicks it to Nikki Kilboten, start things out for the first bucket here. Next up, you see it right there, sophomore stud Isio Odur, she gets it. And now we see a nice kick out here. Tori Wards, holy buckets, is that from Curry range? I think that was from Curry range. She hits that 3 as Crookston comes back with 3 of their own. It's Madeline Dahman time. That's 1. And that's to stop, pop it, drop it. She gets the bucket. And Katrina Tice finishes things off with the and one. The freshman powerhouse will help the Huskies get that dub, 77-68. And just all over the board, people were just scoring points for St. Cloud State here.
Yeah, it was a good team win coming into the Saturday. Of course, it was senior day as well. Mackenzie Uter playing really well. Madeline Domin. I mean, it's fun to see those. Or excuse me, Mally Doucette. Almost got those wrong. She had a good game coming off the bench. And this women's team, again, they're getting hot at the right moments, and they could be maybe a team that could maybe go on a Cinderella run or kind of a deep run. I'm hoping they could do that because they're a fun team to watch, just like our men's team.
Well, heading into the women's basketball NSIC tourney, St. Cloud State will be hosting Minnesota State Mankato. The last two times these teams faced off, Mankato got the 72-68 win back in January. Now the Huskies will be looking to change the results this time around with playing at home, which St. Cloud State has been dominant as they are 10-3 in those games. Game time for Wednesday's playoff game is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. tip-off at Hollenbeck Hall.
And of course, the players and coaches told me they would want everyone to come to the gym, not only for the men's game, but for the women's. They love the atmosphere. They love the fans coming in. And of course, if you see one game, you're automatically hooked.
And that's one thing about this campus I would say is very underrated. The basketball games. Once you get a lot of people in there, I'm telling you right now, it's such a confined space. When you get a lot of people in there, it's energy. It's nothing but an Energizer bunny, just beating the drums. Everyone's ready to go. The fans, the coaches, and the players, they just love the energy at Hollenbeck Hall. And I really encourage everyone to go out and see this team because I'll tell you right now, both of these teams, we're not going to see a couple like these for a long time.
It's going to be a good one. So again, Wednesday night, action-packed for playoffs starting first round. Huskies against Mankato for the women's side at 5:30, and then Upper Iowa comes with the men's side at 7:30 following after the women's game. We'll step aside take a quick one more break, and we'll see how the wrestling team did on their regionals and see how many players they'll be sending to the nationals.
And we'll see the baseball team do their work on the diamond as Husky Mag returns. All right, now we're welcome back to the last final stretch here of Husky Mag, and we'll start it out here on the mats once again. The St. Cloud State wrestling team, they showed once again why they are the alpha male of Division II wrestling. I'll tell you what, this Husky wrestling team was in Moorhead this past weekend for the NCAA Division II Super 5 Regional Tournament, and you could just explain the tournament in two small words: utter domination. St. Cloud State crushed the mats with 8 Husky wrestlers winning their respected weight brackets. Star senior Brett Velasquez was also able to win regionals in his bracket for the 4th straight time, a renowned Husky career. And St. Cloud State Wrestling did as St. Cloud State Wrestling does and retain its grasp on the regional title for the 3rd straight year. Oh, and just for domination's sake, this is also their 6th regional title in the past 9 years. Put that into perspective, that's Michael Jordan basically winning 6 titles in 8 years. Yeah, a pretty impressive feat, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. This team has been also fun to watch, and it's outstanding what these group of seniors have done throughout their whole entire time. I mean, the coaching staff has done something right. If they've been dominant, they haven't lost since like a regular season match or a conference match since Obama entered office.
I mean,
the first time.
Very well could have been. And now they'll be looking forward to the NCAA tournament where 9 Husky wrestlers were sent to the tournament finals.
That'll be a fun time next for them. And of course, they're trying to bring home that hardwood coming up next. I mean, again, they have 9 players going to it.
NCAA championships.
Ohio.
Yep, there it is right there. And you just love to see it from this team. The work they put in every single season, the guys they have on this team, it really seems like they bonded. I was able to talk to David Fitzgerald earlier this season, and that's what he talked about. He talked about how everyone is just so together and everyone's all in on winning.
And we'll have to see. Hopefully that'll get them success for another hardware.
And All-American starting pitcher Sheldon Mix made his first start in 2 years after a few weeks ago coming off the utter Tommy John surgery. UTVS's own Alex Cotter had a chance to sit down with him to talk about his return and how the team is dealing with a snowy start to the season.
I was actually feeling pretty good that day. Even my pitching coach said that it was coming out of my hand pretty good, and then the second inning of the game rolled around, and I threw a curveball and felt a pop and ended up throwing it about 45 feet. And so it kind of stung a little bit, ended up getting out of the inning, and after that I kind of took myself out because it was a little painful. So. Yep, he just asked, 75 pitches okay, and I said yep. For me, I was just hoping to give us 6, and then anything after that was a bonus. So. Yeah, it's tough. You pretty much have to take it day by day, especially in college. I mean, high school, you typically don't start until March or so, but college, you're looking to get games in, as soon as possible, and it's definitely a challenge when you have winters like this one with 20 inches of snow in February and trying to find a place and a team to play. You just kind of have to stay sane and mentally tough and take it day by day and just kind of roll with the punches a little bit.
All right, now we are joined by Mr. Alex Cotter here in the studio to talk a little bit more about Huskies baseball. Alex, was this Sheldon Mick's first appearance since his injury?
No, actually he made 3 relief appearances last year, only giving up 1 hit, but Coach Dolan and the rest of the staff was very cautious about the amount of pitches he was throwing.
Yeah, Alex, and now Coach Dolan, he did give him the nod in their game today. How do you think that went for him?
It went great. He went the distance today, pitching a complete game, 8 strikeouts, and he only gave up 2 runs.
All right, Alex, and now the Huskies are off to a hot start to the season over some pretty tough opponents. So what are some of the more intriguing games to look forward to for the rest of the season?
You're right, Austin. Despite the cold temperatures, the Huskies have managed to stay hot, going 5-0. But as far as the rest of the season goes, March 16th and 17th, the Huskies travel to Mankato to play their in-state rival, Minnesota State. And then later in that month, actually, they come back here to St. Cloud for the first home game at Joe Faber Field when they host the Augustana Vikings. So that'd be a fun matchup to see.
Absolutely. Defending champions as well, Austin. So a lot to look forward to. Again, Alex, thank you very much for stopping by.
No problem, guys.
And let's see how the baseball team, after they had their earlier matchup canceled against Southern Missouri with snow, the Huskies were able to pick up some makeup games as they had the time to go back to Joplin, Missouri. They took on 2-game series against UW Parkside Rangers. And of course, in Game 1, St. Cloud scoring in the first after a throwing error made by the Rangers catcher, and the Huskies would go up 1-0. The Huskies again would take on another run as they would go up 2-0 off a sac fly. And here's where things got really interesting in this game. Rangers would explode as they would put up 5 runs between the 6th and 7th inning to go up 5-2. And like the Rangers, the Huskies would respond back with a rally of their own, scoring 7 runs. And St. Cloud would come back to win this one 9-5 to stay undefeated. Just a crazy ending of that game, Austin.
And the crazy endings do not stop there, as in Monday's game at 11 o'clock earlier today, St. Cloud State rose bright and early for another showdown versus Wisconsin Parkside. And things started very sluggish for both teams until the bottom of the third, when Wisconsin Parkside drew first blood with 2 guys on and a Hunter Weddle single to right, scoring one. Next batter was Nicholas Eisenmenger, who doubled, scoring another, giving the Rangers a 2-0 lead. Another early lead for the Rangers on the healthy Sheldon Mix. But in the 4th, St. Cloud State did not waste any time getting back in this one. A little sort of a deja vu from last game, as with the bases loaded and 1 out, Lenny Walker would ground out, but it would score 1, bringing it to that 1-run game. Next, the Painesville prodigy, Matty Quaid, would single, scoring 2 more, giving the Huskies the lead. And for the cherry on top, I suppose you could call it fireworks. Aaron Hammond, more like Aaron Hammerman, would clear the bases with an absolute torque shot, widening the Huskies' lead to 3. The Cardinal and Black would take it 5-2 with a masterful effort from Mr. Sheldon Mix, coming off that Tommy John surgery. Besides those 2 runs in the 3rd, he would end up throwing a complete game, 8 strikeouts, and a mere 6 hits, with 3 of those coming in the 3rd. I'd say he looks pretty healthy to me.
Absolutely, especially with that dominance performance actually coming back. That's a pretty good sign, especially that early testimony in the first season. I can't wait to see how that'll pay off in the end of the season.
15 innings in 2 games. He looks like he's back.
It's good to see, especially off that injury. Well, most of us will be spending our spring break in these Arctic cold Minnesota temperatures. This red-hot Husky squad, well, they'll be spending theirs in Tucson for the Tucson Invitational and will square off against Concordia University of Nebraska. Again, the Bulldogs currently hold a 1-4 record on the season. With that being said, I wouldn't call it a win yet, even with how good this Husky team is. Concordia of Nebraska will play 4 more games until they're meeting with the Huskies, and those extra couple games under the belt could help the Bulldogs, and it could pose a potential threat to St. Cloud State. But I'll tell you what, Austin, I checked out the weather in Tucson. I'm a little upset I did because straight 70s the entire week and nothing but sunshine, and we get nothing but cold and snow.
You're telling me straight sunshine, anything better than here. We had the worst kind of blizzard you could ever imagine here in Minnesota. Take me with you guys.
And well, speaking of blizzards, I guess when we come back from the break, we'll be looking at blizzard's best along with some of our leader of the pack as well.
So don't go anywhere.
And make sure to follow us on Twitter at UTVS_Husky Mag for all updates and alerts on everything Husky sports, along with game times and past previous shows as well. So check it out.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Leif. And now we'll get right into it. We'll get right into this week's leader of the pack. And who is it? Not a basketball guy, but Ryan Poehling. Yes, sir, the Ryan Poehling and the Huskies went down to Nebraska Omaha for that 2-game set against the Mavs. Ryan led the way Friday night with 2 goals to help secure a 4-1 dub, and Poehling would then help St. Cloud State cruise to a 5-0 dub, which would capture the Penrose Cup for back-to-back years. Once again, congrats to Ryan and the rest of the Huskies, and good luck with the rest of their season as they finish it off, I should say, before they head into playoffs.
Absolutely. Again, another team with high expectations all throughout, and it's really exciting to see, especially under first-year head coach Larson, what he'll do. And the whole city is buzzing around.
The fire really was lit under that belly. But yeah, speaking of these cold temperatures, blizzard. You kind of said it before, I suppose. Oh, whatever. We'll just get into it. Blizzard's best coming up right now. Our favorite part of the show, starting off on number 3, Sean Smith. Oh my goodness! Woo! Oh, can we see that again? Pins it on the backboard. See a ball.
Let's go. Stick it on the hardwood. We got to do it. Alley-oop. Gage Davis.
Woo!
Sean Smith. Let's take another look at that. In rhythm, too. Not even missing a step.
And we saw before, see it again, Danish Dimer, Sean Smith, hero, pulled a Manu Ginobili there, and the heads-up pass by Heath Anderson, that Danish Dimer, you just love to see it from the guys. Now we saw that leader of the pack hockey, but that was all ball for us.
And that's another reason why you want to go out Wednesday night to support the basketball teams, because you'll see a lot of high-flying action, dunks from everybody on the court, especially with some block shots and some 3 balls from both the men's side and the women's side.
All you could ask for and more. But that'll wrap up this week's edition of Husky Mag. For me, I'm Austin Schindler.
And I'm Leif Ender.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back next week.